Hello and welcome to another one of my videos. Today it's not going to be a repair video as such. It's going to be a quick look at the new Pico 7 automotive software. I downloaded it last night and had a quick play on demo mode. So I thought I'd bring my little Peugeot in behind me here and we'll have a quick play, see what it's like. On the laptop here, you see the little icon at the top here. Can you see that? I think you can. Let's zoom in a little bit. We've got the Pico 7 automotive software at the top there, next to the Pico 6 software, so we don't need to delete that, we can keep that as two separate units. So if we just double click on that, and then the Pico 7 will load up. Sorry for the little bit of glare in the from the fluorescent light above. And straight away it starts searching and it tells me that my scope is available. If you switch it on and there's no scope available, the only option you'll have is demo mode. As soon as it loads up, it comes straight up with the selection of automotive tests to start with, so you can choose between starting and charging, sensors, actuators, ignition circuits, communications, system tests, pressure transducers or support material. Wonder what they've got on the support material. Videos, case studies, documentation, and oh, that's pretty interesting stuff, isn't it? Let's see what they've got there. Mind you, my internet connection in the garage, as you can see, is pretty much non-existent in here, so we probably won't be able to do much of that. No, that's going to take forever to load, so we'll get rid of that. We'll get rid of that. Right, so if we close that box down, we don't need guided tests at the moment, but if we do need to click them to get them back again, there's a box at the top there which we can just click on. So straight away it's come on with me two channels at the top and bottom there. Channel A and channel B. Obviously if this is a 4-channel scope, you'd have channel C and channel D down there as well, so it doesn't put those on. Quite noticeable differences, as you can see. At the top there, let's just turn that off there. Let's put that running. Right, so at the top there we've got the start stop button, which is normally down at the bottom there in a little tiny box, so that's much improved. We've got a time base button option up there for changing your time base, and also as that an option, you can also change your sampling rate as well. Along the top there you've got a trigger setting for setting your triggers, and this is your waveform count now. And coming down this side, if you click on channel A, it gives you the option of changing your voltages. The next box along, probes, allows you to change your probes, and you've got a very easy selection of all your different automotive probes. I haven't put nothing in there that's not automotive. The next box along is your display box, where you can activate your filters and you can change the resolution enhance, which cleans up the signal that you've just captured. And the next box along, the display box, you can change the color of your channel, you can rename it, and you can change your scaling as well. So we'll go back to the vertical, and then we'll click on that to well, so the same with the old Pico. You've got your rulers that you can bring down, and that gives you a reading in the middle there. The same with channel 2, and at the bottom you've got your time rulers, your time measurement bars, which you can drag along the bottom. If you want the degree rulers, which are normally on the bottom right hand corner, they're not there at the moment, but if you come over here into the rulers section, you click on that, and then you can put your phase rulers on 720 degrees, and then it will tell you how many divisions that you need, or you've got 4 divisions. And the good thing with this now is, I don't know whether you can see the, so let's turn the brightness down a bit. See, now where they've labelled the rulers at the bottom, 0, 180, 360, 540 and 720, each section now is shaded in a different colour, which makes it easier for pinpointing your individual degrees. And then, like before, you can come across here and you can change the amount of rulers that you've got in your box for the amount of cylinders that you have, and you can change your degrees for 360 degrees, 720, or you've got a custom box for customization. So let's turn those off, we don't need those on. And then to get rid of that, we just click on the rulers box again. After you've got your capture, to view all the different pages of capture you've got, you click on the top back box up there, the waveform box. It gives you all your waveforms up there, and you can scroll along and you get all your waveforms, and you just click on the one you want and it will display in the box at the bottom. So that's nice and clear, and you click on it again to get rid of them. I think, oh no you don't, you click on the X over there, there you go, little X at the top. And as before, I think you'll find, yeah, hitting the space bar. If you watch at the top there, the space bar will start and stop it. And a nice feature that I think is good is if we take our time base down to something quite slow, 200 milliseconds. Let's go a bit slower. At the start, you've got a ruler that goes up from top to bottom, follows the line across, because unlike the old Pico 6 automotive software, where it just erases the screen before it draws another one, this one draws over the top of the previous one. So as you can see, the bar's coming along, but it's drawing over the old scaling, which I think is a very good feature. But when you stop it, it just cuts off and it just displays the screen capture that you got at the time. Right, so I think that's all for now. What we're going to do, we're going to connect it up to the battery and we'll do like a relative compression or a battery test, and we'll see how that goes. Right, we're over at the car, just connected up a couple of leads. What we're using today is the Pico 4000 series. It's the 4223, the 2-channel 4000 series scope. On channel 1 we've got the 12 volt leads, positive and negative on the battery for doing battery voltage, and on channel B we've got the 600 amp clamp, which we're going to put around the battery terminal to take the ampage from the battery, so we can get a battery test, get a battery voltage and a current draw from the starter. So we come over to the Pico software, and from the front page we've clicked on guided tests, We could put this in manually, but let's see what the guided tests do for us. So we'll go on to charging and starting. We don't want relative compression. We go on to charging circuits. So we've got current and voltage at idle 12 volt, current and voltage at idle 24 volt, alternator ripple diode test without PCM control, Ford smart alternator parasitic drain test, that's probably quite handy, and alternator AC ripple diode test with PCM control. So we go for current and voltage at idle 12 volt, and then it gives you two options: to directly load the settings file, or to load the settings file and give you a guided tour of what it does and how to set the scope up. We'll go directly into load settings file, and as you can see, it's set my scope up pretty much, or set the scope up pretty much straight away. On channel A it's giving me a 20 volt range, and on B it's given me a 200 amp plus or minus range for the amp clamp. So first of all, we'll change that. We'll change the 200, we'll change that up to 500 because we're going to need a bit of a peak start, and we'll move that up, just moving the scaling up on the side so we can see the waveform there at the bottom, and we'll put it up the screen a little bit. Right, so we'll get rid of that. Time base. Why can't we change the time base? "20 milliseconds, we don't want 20 milliseconds, do we? Perhaps it won't let you change the time base. Right, okay. Right, it doesn't seem to want to let us. We'll put a trigger on. We'll put a trigger on channel B, single trigger, channel B, click on that again, and where's our little diamond? Our little diamond is down there, so we'll bring that up. We'll put that about 50-60 amps, somewhere around there. Right, let's put our amp clamp on our battery. Right, I've just got to put the phone down for a second. Right, switch the amp clamp on, put it on the battery main cable. I think it's on the right way. The arrow is pointing to the positive. Right, let's start this test. And what it should do, it should run up to the trigger mark, but for some reason when I'm using a trigger, even on the old Pico 6 software, it's a bit hesitant. Oh look, it's allowing us to do the let's turn that off. It's allowing us to change the time base now, so we'll change that to a 2-second screen, 2 second per division screen, which gives us a 20-second screen, and we'll start that again. See, now it runs up to the trigger mark and is waiting for a high amp input to go past the trigger to let it run. So we'll crank it over and we'll start it, and hopefully it'll go the right way. We'll leave it a few seconds and we'll turn that off, and then you'll see it'll run to the end of the screen, and it will stop. So that's good, it stops at the top there. So now we can clean these channels up. If we click into channel B, and we go into, I think it's display at the top there. We've got a choice of low pass filtering or resolution enhance. So if we click the low pass filtering, it cleans it up a little bit, but let's just turn that off. But if we increase the resolution, that cleans it up a lot better. Alright, so if we go over to our scaling and we bring that up, but as you can see, rookie mistake number one, the amp clamp's on the wrong way around. Right, so let us do that again. One moment please. Right, amp clamp is now turned around. We'll start that again. So it runs over the top of the old pattern up to the trigger mark. We'll start the car again. We'll let that run for a second or two, and then we'll turn that off. Right, that is a more interesting pattern. So we'll bring the amps back down. And you can see when we first started, if we bring our rulers down, you can see right, before we started our battery voltage was 12.65, and when we cranked it, it dropped right down to the lowest was 8.182 volts. I know this battery is a little bit weak, so you wouldn't really want it to drop under about 10.5 volts. And then it's cranking, and then it starts at this point here. So it's crank, and then it starts, and then about a second or two later the voltage rises up to a charging position, and if we put our scale at the top there, it's then charging at 14.27 volts, which is a good healthy charge rate, until we turn it off and it drops down to normal battery. Alright, so we can measure the time. If we bring these markers along from the bottom, if we put the first marker where we first started cranking, and the second marker, we want to go here. Right, so in between when we started to crank and when it started, we had a delta time of 980.7 milliseconds, so under a second to start, quick crank, and then it starts, and then we have a period of just under 3 seconds before the alternator kicks in and then starts charging, and then away it goes. So if we put these markers back again, put them back over there, right, so now we can do the same with the amp marker, with the amp ruler. We can bring that down from the top right hand corner, And if we move our scaling down so we can see the peak of when it started, which is right up here, you can see on initial crank we had a peak of 495 amps, and then it quickly went down. Let's get that down, let's get that ruler down there so we can bring the scaling back up so we can see our waveform. See, at this point where it was cranking, it came down to roughly an average of 200 amps until at this point it started. So we had a period of zero charge rate, or it was charging at 7 amps. So about 7 amps. The amp clamp might not have been completely zeroed out at the start. And then when the alternator kicks in, when the voltage goes up, you see that it comes down it's actually run the wrong way, but it's actually charging at 26 amps, and then averages out at about 12 amps, which isn't too bad for the battery. I know the battery isn't a lot good. Right, so that's for that. So what we'll do now, we'll go in and I'll take the amp clamp off, and we'll have a quick look at something else. We'll have a look at cam. We get a waveform off the cam sensor. Right, we'll be back in a second. Right, we're back over at the car. We've taken the amp clamp off. We've still got the negative lead of channel 1 on the battery negative, and now we've got the positive of the channel 1 probe in the camshaft, I think it's center wire, which I believe is the signal wire. So we'll come over to the Pico. Let's go to the guided test again. We'll come out of there. Sensors, actuators, ignition. We're going to sensors. Camshaft, let's click on camshaft. Camshaft Hall effect. We'll click on Hall effect. Load settings. And that gives us a waveform of what we should be looking for. And it's give us a 10 volt scale. It's give us 20 milliseconds per division on the time base. And right, let's start that off, and we'll start the car and we'll see what we get. Nothing, so we must be on the wrong wire. Hang on a second. Right, now we've changed it to the M wire, the white wire. And now, as you can see, we've got an over range. So we'll bring our scaling down on the right hand side here. And we'll change this at the top here. Let's get rid of that. We'll change our voltage to 20 volts. And that gives us our camshaft square waveform. We'll put a trigger in. Repeat trigger, channel A, and there you can see the triggers holding our pattern nice and steady. We can increase our time base to get more in. Or we can slow it down. And then we can stop it. And I'll turn the car off. And now to examine the pattern, we can use this new zoom feature. All the zoom features were at the top here, and it's now gone to one zoom button at the top there. So we click on that, and that gives us a cross on the screen. And then we can just click and drag the area that we want to examine. And it enlarges it into a big screen. And then there's some helpful features at the bottom here in this bottom box. You've got two plus and minus zoom levels, so you can zoom up and down vertically, or you can zoom plus and minus horizontally to get more or less into the screen that you like, which is a good feature, I think. And then you can press X to get rid of that and go back to the original. Right, so as a quick overview then, I think it's probably better than Pico 6. It'll take a bit of using and getting used to where different things are, but the main thing is all the channels have gone from along the top to down the side here. Your start stop button has a big button now rather than a little button at the bottom. Probe selection, when you click on your channel, is by clicking on probes. It's a far clearer menu. It gives you a picture of all your different probes, and when you're selecting your amp clamps, when you select your 20 or your 60 amp, it will give you the choice of 20 or 60. It will give you all your different probes. When you click on the attenuator, it gives you a choice of 10 or 20 to 1. Much clearer than it was before. Get rid of that. And as I say, you've got your trigger settings up there, your waveform patterns up there. Anytime you can click on your guided tests. You've got an auto setup, and then you can open and save all your waveforms as per usual. You've got a send feedback option, so you can send feedback back to Pico. Notes, reference waveforms, you can click on there and you can add and manage all your reference waveforms. I don't know if that's working yet, I haven't tried that. Get rid of that. As I say, the rulers, you can add your rulers along the bottom. You've got a more button, which gives you a brief outline of everything together. You've got a print option, so you can print your screen. What else have we got? When you go to views, you can switch all your channels off and off. So if you've got like a 2 or 4 screen pattern and you only want to look at one waveform, you can switch off all the other channels. Get rid of that. I think that's it. I think it's a I think it's going to be an improvement over the old Pico 6. So we'll give it a use, we'll give it a go, and you'll probably see me using this in future videos. Well, thanks for watching, guys. Hope this was some interest to you. I know it was a bit long-winded and a bit rambly, but yeah, it's all good. Thanks for watching. Catch you again. Bye bye.